on evil.
We think it's abhorrent. We think that children should remain innocent for as long as possible. And we think it's an amazing thing for grown-ups to read to children, but we don't think it's a good thing for drag queens to be reading to children.
Albie Amancona and Calvin Robinson. So Albie, explain your tweet. Why did Calvin embarrass the Conservative movement by protesting the drag queen story time?
Well, it was just in this particular instance. I mean, maybe Calvin can tell us why he went to the protest, but from the video, which you say is misleading, but from the video that I saw, it highlighted that Calvin and Lawrence, another GB News star, you know, got nothing against either the two gentlemen personally, went to go and protest Drag Queen Story Hour outside your new local pub, the Honour Oak pub, I believe. So maybe you'll be protesting with them as well. And actually, the event in question was not taking place. There were no drag queens, there were no children being read to by drag queens. And personally, I just found the lack of organisation a little bit embarrassing, whether or not I agree or disagree with the intention behind the programme.
Happy to debate people who I think are wrong, but I don't think you can debate evil. Now, he's going to sit here dishonestly saying it was about that particular event, right? But he's also been retweeting articles that say there is that actually character assassinate me, but also in the articles, and this is a Times piece by David Aronovich, that says there's no evidence of these drag queens sexualising children whatsoever. I mean, the most basic cursory internet search will show Miss Rachel Ray charged with possession and production of indecent, prohibited images against children. Bruce Williams charged with 2 counts of possession of child porn. Darren Moore found dead in Cardiff, convicted of child rapist. Ada HD, drag queen story hour person who raised money for a convicted sex offender. I'm very, very disappointed that someone can sit here and deflect and make the issue, try to make the issue about me on his Twitter, or try to make the issue about Lawrence Fox and people like us who are out there defending children's innocence, which is, there's nothing more important than that.
And what was the truth?
It makes him complicit.
What was the truth about the event, Calvin? Was it called off because of your protest?
So that event was advertised. We advertised that we were going to go and protest it. The event was removed from their website sneakily, but you can still find it there on the internet history. However, we weren't protesting that individual event. And the Joe Politics interview that I gave, quite generously, he asked me, is this about this particular event? I said, no, it's about the movement. We think that Drag Queen Story Hour is inappropriate. I think it's a safeguarding concern for men dressed as women, scantily clad, you know, in thongs and bondage gear, thrusting and gyrating in front of children. I think that's unacceptable. So I'm here to protest the movement. They cut that bit from the interview.
Of course they did. Of course they did, because they're a very biased organisation. Albie Amancona, what about the drag queen story hours themselves? Do you think it is every parent's right to expose their children to whatever sexual material they want to, or do you feel like there should be protection for children against those sorts of displays?
Look, the first thing I would say is I've not been to every single drag queen story hour which has taken place in the United Kingdom, and certainly not in the United States of America. I don't know whether or not all of them are age-appropriate or are inappropriate, but I believe the parents who say that the drag shows that they've been to, in fact, like the parent that was interviewed in the same interview Calvin was interviewed on, was saying that the event was completely age-appropriate, and I will defend the right of parents to decide what content to expose their children to. And in a free society, you've got to say that people can do what they like as long as they're not breaking the law. And as far as I'm aware, no laws were broken in this case. I might think some of them are inappropriate, but it's not for me to say to other people what they do with their children.
Calvin, when it comes to the drag queens, though, you must also accept, yes, you've listed a whole load of examples, which obviously we should be very concerned about, but you must accept that adults have a right to choose what sort of entertainment they want to view. So in society, we have strippers available to adults. We have pornography available to adults. Surely the problem here is about these very, very young children who don't have that right to choose.
So in a liberal society, grown people can do whatever they like within limits, right? So adult entertainment,
as long as it's legal,
drag queens, strip shows, all of that is appropriate for over 18s. I personally wouldn't find it my cup of tea, but people can do what they like. However, when children are involved, that's when it becomes a safeguarding risk. When we have thongs and little kids putting money in the thongs, as you would a strip show,
because look at that.
It's grooming.
Look at this. Do you believe this is age appropriate, what we're showing on screen at the moment?
That particular drag show, which we're watching at the moment, no, I don't think that is age appropriate. I wouldn't take a child to that show. However,
Would you take a child to a burlesque show?
Before, Dan, I trust the parents who say the drag shows that they take their children to are age appropriate.
Right.
So are you calling them liars?
No,
I
said it's a lame argument.
It's not a lame argument.
The only person I'm calling a liar is you, Albie.
How am I a liar?
Because you are sitting there...
What am I lying about?
OK, I'll answer the question. You're sitting there pretending to be...
You've just called me evil earlier on.
I think your stance is evil.
Stop being so over-dramatic.
Are you going to let me answer the question, or are you just going to talk over me?
Calvin, please do continue.
With your permission, I shall.
Please do continue.
Now, it's OK to sit there and say people like me are embarrassing the Conservative movement. However, people like you are the problem here because you're complicit in this child pornography. You're complicit in this grooming of young children.
Because
you are saying that actually
it's OK
reading
stories
for individual parents,
to children.
It's for individual parents
which is age appropriate. How is that?
You want to make yourself look like a reasonable Conservative, but some things are not reasonable. Some things are entirely inappropriate.
Calvin, it is
underrated.
Reading to children.
Albie, let Calvin respond, and then I'll let you.
Adults reading to children is fantastic. It's one of the most beautiful.
Does it matter what they wear?
Yes, it does matter what they wear.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if they're wearing, if a drag queen went in a nun's outfit reminiscent of your vicar's outfit, would that be appropriate or inappropriate? Or is it just because it's a man wearing women's clothes that makes it inappropriate?
Because Albie, I don't think anyone has an issue with children attending pantomime, for example, where you've got great pantomime dames like Christopher Biggins, you know, who I absolutely adore. I think the difference is, and I know from personal experience, you know, drag shows are all about sexual content.
It's sexualised content.
But if it's an age appropriate,
it's not age appropriate. It's sexualised content. Right? Grooming young children. You should be, as a Conservative, you should be pro-family.
I'm pro-freedom. That's what I am.
But grooming and paedophilia is not freedom.
It's not grooming and paedophilia for men dressed in women's clothes to read stories.
Sexualised behaviour like you've just seen on the television. We just showed it.
Fascinating debate. I enjoyed it.
So did I.
We need some holy water in this place. That's what we need.
Oh, I would go up in flames.
You probably would, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I pray for your soul.
Thank you,
Albie and Kona. Thank you both so much. But who do you agree with on this very passionate debate? Is it right to question the drag queen story hour movement? Lisa on Twitter says, I might not be religious, but I support Calvin 100% on this one. It's just a shame that very few others are doing anything against this. They are getting away with so much in schools. Shazza on Twitter, she's with me. She says, drag is for adults, not children. I love my drag. It's a great night out, but I would not take my 2-year-old grandson to watch them. That's exactly where I'm at, Shazza. Totally with you on that. And from Fran,